All right, hello and welcome. We are so excited to be here with some of our cast members from The Secret Life of Amy Bensen, as well as director and executive producer Tosca Musk, director Stacia Crawford, and author of the Amy Bensen series, Lisa Renee Jones. I'm Lauren Olson.
I'm Allie Whitaker. First, congratulations to everybody here. We love the series so much, and we're so excited for everyone to watch the first season. And everyone has had the chance, hopefully, to see the first 2 episodes. They're both streaming right now on PassionPod. But yeah, just want to dive right into it. So, Lisa, putting you on the hot seat, can you talk a little bit about where the idea for the whole series came?
Well, I love suspense, so there was that. And I go to Denver a lot. So I actually hang out at Cherry Creek where the series is set, which is a really cozy, upscale neighborhood. So for me, it pretty much was sitting there over a drink saying, what scandalous thing could happen in Cherry Creek in Denver? But also I really liked the idea of this young girl who had her life pulled out from underneath her, who, was trying to discover herself. I mean, I like to write about journeys that people have within themselves, finding themselves. And I feel like this story is a lot about Amy finding herself, but in that process, Liam finds himself as well.
I like it. When you were writing it, or I guess even after it was released, did you ever think of it as potentially being a series or a movie?
Well, I did, because I had already had my Inside Out series option to Starz at the time. And I kind of write in like episodes, I love my cliffhangers. They call me the cliffhanger queen. So for a reason. And so I did, and honestly, I had a dream years ago that while Inside Out was in development and Amy was not, that Amy was going to get made before Inside Out.
And ta-da!
Yes, dreams do come true.
Oh, and for those of you who don't know, the authors are involved, pretty heavily involved in the casting process for PassionFlix movies. And so Tosca and Lisa, you worked closely together on this. Can you talk to us a little bit about what that process looks like? And maybe Tosca, you can share too how it's different than, other films and series that are adapted elsewhere.
Well, it's harder for us as the author because it's very personal to us, but it is to Tosca as well. But she knows when she sees an audition tape how that will transfer to film. So in many cases, I really trusted Tosca. And I would say, well, if you think, but there were other times when I just felt super, super passionate about it. So that was fun, those passionate moments. The actor that plays Teller's audition made me laugh out loud. And I was like, oh my God, please, yes, him. So, there were moments like that. And that moment when Maddie was on screen and she became Amy, and I was like, yes, oh, she has this. That was super, super fun. And then to actually see it in the episodes become real and say, oh, Tosca knew exactly the right choices and directed me the right way. That was fun. Yeah.
It was really fun. It is very different the way that we cast our shows because of the fact that we are such advocates for the book, and we really want the author to love the actors that come on board, because at the end of the day, while we can't get into the mind of every reader out there, if we can get the author to say this is the person that can play this character, then I feel like that's a great sort of first step towards making sure that the series is done the way that the fans and the author envision it. And Maddie was one of the first people to audition for us. It's, we basically go out there and then people submit auditions, and I watched Maddie's and I was like, Maddie is the one. And that basically was it. I was like, Maddie's the one. And so I sent it to Lisa and we went from there. And it was actually really funny because that weekend we'd made the offer to Maddie, and then that weekend I got a message from Olivia Applegate, and many of you know Olivia because she's in our Driven series, and she sends me a message and she goes, hey, I hear, I just want to let you know that my friend Maddie's auditioned for your show, and I think the two of you will really get along. And I was like, oh my God, she totally has. And we put an offer out to her. So fingers crossed it'll all work out. But and Olivia was right, of course. We love Maddie. She's been amazing. She's the perfect Amy. So and then when it came to Liam, it was actually Lauren. So I worked with, so also in PassionFlix, we work very closely with everyone in our team at PassionFlix to try and find who really speaks to them for this role. And in this particular series, Lauren was a massive reason for us putting the series together now, as opposed to, you know, maybe a little later on or making it as a movie. It was really Lauren that was the advocate for making this as a series, episodic. And so I said, okay, Lauren, it is your job. I want you to go and find our Liam. And she did. And she found Casey. And she's like, this is the one. I was like, okay, great. Sent it through to Lisa again. And Lisa's like, well, this will work. Some beautiful pictures, but also some really, his reel was fantastic. And then of course, then the audition was sort of knocked it out of the park. And that's how we worked with them. And then the same with Georgia and Dylan.
Yeah, that was Georgia's audition, I'll just say.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was. I told Tosca right away with that. I was like, oh, I love her. She's exactly how I imagined her. So even just in an audition, because I know auditions can be hard because you don't know the characters fully, but when they get it so perfect in the audition, that's really fun.
Yeah. Well, I remember, Tosca, you were playing Dylan's audition in your office when Lauren and I were over there. We were both like, yep, done.
Yeah, that is the fun part of the audition process for sure.
Yeah.
Amazing. And so, Tosca, this series is different from most of our PassionFlix originals. What about it was the story? What about the story made you want to bring it to life on screen?
Well, it is different because it's more suspense and it's episodic, and we haven't, I mean, while we did do Driven as an episodic, or ended up being a series, really this one was made as a series, it was written as a series. And so it's the first time that we've gone out in that regard and actually filmed it, you know, with the intention of releasing it episodically. What I loved about this one was the suspense. We haven't really focused that much on a female-driven suspense drama at all, and I love the trauma that Amy has gone through, that she's trying to find her way out of it, and she's feeling all alone at the beginning, and then slowly but surely comes into her own and takes her life in her hands to sort of uncover what's happened to her. And I love that sort of thing in any kind of story, especially when the strength of a woman to really take life by the I'm not going to say it. And really just take control of her life. And I like that a lot.
Yeah, awesome. And for those watching who don't know this, Tosca, you actually directed the first 2 episodes, and then Stacia took over from there. How did you approach that, and did you prepare ahead of time together?
Well, this one we're going to bring Stacia in for sure. So this is the first time, yes, that I, cast the entire thing, worked with Lisa, and then directed the first 2 episodes. And, I didn't work with Dylan at all. And I worked with Georgia for like 10 seconds. And so that's really bizarre for me. And I'm sure very bizarre for Stacia as well, who came in to take the rest of the, like I directed 2, she directed 10, like that's a lot. But it was really quite wonderful because I hadn't worked with Stacia before. And when we were planning this series, Stacia came and she was in the production office from the very beginning and was with us on as much as possible. I think you were in every scout, and then every day that I was shooting, she was there, just to from what I understand and from the conversations that we had, to really understand the PassionFlix way and how we want to make sure that we are focused on the female gaze and making sure that the book is truly honored. So I think that's so Stacia was with me throughout the first week and a half that I shot, and then I was like, all right, see you later. Left to go and film Redemption.
Yeah.
And
it's so true. Yeah.
And Stacia took over. So Stacia, tell us about that.
Yeah, coming to work for PassionFlix was always something you and I had talked a few times, and this was just the right project at the right time. So when I got there, I was super excited, but I hadn't read all 4 of the books yet. So for me, I was trying to figure out, I was like, oh, who's coming in, who's not? And then being able to see the videos of all the actors, because at that point they'd already been cast. And I was so excited. As soon as you showed me, everybody who had been cast up to that point, it made me really excited. But I think, shadowing you, and then also we kind of like, you were on set and I would go look for locations and I'd come to set. It was, first of all, a joy. I'm so happy to be a part of this family. But I feel like we really were in, we were together and we were in a groove. And I feel like having one DP for all the episodes really made a tremendous difference. And even though we, sometimes creatively directors have just, a slightly different eye, I feel like we really worked well together in making this series something that I am so proud of. I can't wait for everybody to see it.
Yeah, I'm super proud of it. This series is excellent. Maddie, Casey, you knocked it out of the park. Dylan, Georgia, like really amazing. I love this series. And it's we just finished editing. We just got picture on episode 6. I'm not going to give any spoilers. Ali will kill me. But so close. And we're about to start cutting season 2. And I'm like, why is nobody working over the holidays? I'm ready. Let's get in there. I want to know what happens. It's really good.
I agree. Awesome. I really agree. Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to see the Dylan, Amy, Liam chemistry there. That's going to be a lot of fun. And I think that readers will think that part's a lot of fun as well.
Oh, yeah.
What episode
I've seen the comments coming in. People are excited for that.
What episode does Dylan show up?
Episode 3.
3.
That's right. Okay, great.
So something to watch for.
So Maddie, the fans embraced you right away. I just have to know, how does it feel to be the new leading lady of PassionFlix?
Oh my God. I'm weirdly really nervous. I don't know why, but I'm weirdly very nervous. But it feels great. Everyone has been so lovely and wonderful. I just get the nicest DMs and messages, and it's just been the most like welcoming community, which I had heard from Olivia and Mela, and I weirdly know like every other PassionFlix leading lady. So I don't know. I guess it was just destined to be me next, but it's been the most amazing experience, and especially to connect with all the fans and the people that really care about it and are really excited for it to come out. I've never had that experience before of people like actively waiting for something that I'm in to come out. So it's really cool. And yeah, it's been a really, really surreal couple of weeks. It was surreal to see the poster. And Ali, you've just done such an amazing job with the marketing, and yeah, it's really exciting and very overwhelming.
Well, you were so dedicated to her. You were so dedicated to bringing her to life. And I'm excited for everyone to see what you did, with the material.
Thank you. I made sure, Lisa, every day before set, I reread your book before what we were shooting that day, because I wanted to be true to your story and exactly like Amy, because the amazing thing about the book is you get a lot more of Amy's inner monologue and her inner thoughts. And so I really wanted to make sure that I did justice to that, because we weren't doing voiceover in this. And so I wanted to make sure that my thoughts as Amy were in alignment with what you had written. So I made sure every morning I reread exactly what you wrote, so that it was hopefully what you anticipated and what you wanted from this character.
Well,
she did.
But when I read the scripts, I'm like, oh, that's going to be on Maddie. That'll be on Maddie. So but I believe you could do it. And I'll tell you, my assistant who's been with me 10 years, who loves Amy passionately, she was like, oh, I'm never going to be able to see Amy on screen. Nobody will ever be Amy. And I told Maddie this on instant message, but she was like, no one else is Amy but Maddie. That to me is a huge accomplishment, because you have no idea what a type of audience she is.
Thank you.
I love that.
Yeah.
Maddie, what was it about the story and about Amy that made you want to be part of the series?
Oh my gosh, so many things. But specifically about Amy, I think it's really amazing to see character growth in the way that she grows. She starts the series so scared of her past and really not wanting to face it at all. And you even see that in the opening episode of, is she going to deal with this? Is she not? Is she going to, I don't know how much I'm allowed to say, so I'm gonna stop right there. But you just
Everyone watched the first two.
okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see her holding the key, and is she gonna flush it down the toilet and just forget this is gonna happen and just stay with her life in New York? And she really just takes a backseat to her life. And then by the end of season 1, she really wants answers and she wants agency over her life again. She wants to have her life again. And so I think having a character arc like that is pretty amazing and really strong. And also, like Tosca was saying earlier, having a female-led mystery series is really incredible and really rare. And the other big reason I signed on to this project was because Tosca sent me a really beautiful letter about what PassionFlix stands for, and that it's a platform that puts female pleasure and female sexuality at the forefront. And it's something that's really taboo in our society. And it doesn't get featured a lot in TV and film, and I think it should. And her letter and connecting with her and having a conversation with her really was a big reason that I wanted to do this project.
Oh,
Oh,
really
thank you.
cool. And I know we just mentioned you were friends with a lot of our other actresses that have been on our projects. Did you get any advice from any of them before taking the role?
I called like all of them. I'm not I literally had like calls like the week up until I left. I talked to Olivia, I talked to Mela, I talked to Catherine Hughes. I was like, girls, tell me all the things. And another big reason, shout out to Mela, was she said, if this series scares you, then I think you should do it. And I was like, wow, that's amazing advice to get. And I was like, it does scare me a little bit. You know, it scares me I want to do it justice. It's based on a book. It has a fan base. And so that really stuck with me going into it. And then Olivia was kind enough to run through some of my scenes with me that I was nervous about. That's the kind of person that Olivia is. And there were certain things where I was like, how am I going to do this? And she's like, just trust it. You're going to be 2 inches from the other guy's face. It's just going to come out. And so she's amazing.
I'm gonna say that line.
Yeah, no, literally, those were the questions. I was like, Olivia, how am I going to do this? And she was like, it's going to be fine. You're going to be 2 inches from his face. It's going to be fine. And she was right.
Amazing.
Love it.
I love it. And Casey, you play our awesome Liam. And Liam is an interesting character. In the first 2 episodes, we've seen undeniable connection between the 2 of you, but aren't sure what your motives are as Liam. And we get to see different sides of you throughout season 1. How did you prepare for this role, and how has it differed from roles you've played?
Yeah, very, very different from roles that I've played before. I usually play a funny, upbeat type character, and Liam is very, very mysterious from the moment that you meet him. You know, once him and Amy have that connection, they just lock eyes in the airport, and you know, from the moment you see him, you're saying, "What is this guy's deal?" How I prepared for it. I read the book. I watched a lot of mysterious characters. I looked up to one of my main people who I look up to is Tom Hardy on a screen that he looks up. You know, he's I try to, you know, mimic him, and he's just a very mysterious person once he's on the screen. And that's kind of what I try to bring to Liam, is that you don't really know what he's up to every second of the on the script of what he's planning on doing. And I just hope that you see more of that as the series goes on.
I love that. And Maddie and Casey, this is for both of you. We shot some of the most important scenes of this series in kind of the first week of filming. And it's when your characters first see each other for the very first time, and then also scenes on the airplane when you're first getting to know each other. And your characters share this beautiful connection that's really instantaneous, and also it comes across really beautifully on screen for viewers. How difficult was it to film those kinds of scenes when you were just getting to know each other yourselves as actors?
Casey, you want to take this one?
Sure. Yeah. So, you know, the airport scene was actually our first day on set. Maddie and I had not known each other at all, so it was kind of like that, you know, that first meet sort of deal when we did lock eyes on the in the terminal, and so it really was genuine, like a genuine reaction between the 2 of us. It was a very exciting day. You know, we were about to go on this long, you know, 10-week adventure of shooting this whole series. So yeah.
Awesome. Maddie?
Yeah, I think it actually like served the series quite well that in other work that I've done, I've had chemistry reads, and Casey and I truly didn't meet until our first day of filming, which is rare and kind of special because the audience really does get to see us meet for the first time, and gets to watch literally in real time as Casey and I get more comfortable with each other and get to know each other. It happens on screen at the same time, which is kind of an amazing thing. Like our first kiss is the first kiss of the series, which is like kind of crazy to shoot in order in that way. That's not typical. So yeah, you're kind of experiencing that along with us, which is very cool. And I will say, like, it's funny, Amy and Liam have such an intense connection and their relationship is very serious and intense. Casey and I are very goofy. It's very different. And so it's funny. I mean, we had a lot of side bets on set. We had our own handshake, which I think everyone has seen by this point. But I think Stacia was going to kill us at points because we were a little bit too goofy. So
it's true. It's funny because they're so, the scenes are so intense and they're really, and then suddenly, we yell cut and they were like dancing and singing, and it was great. I mean, I think we had an amazing cast and crew, and everyone was super respectful of each other's processes, but to be able to really have fun together on set in between takes, I thought was really, it was delightful to see. And I think it really helped.
It definitely helped being able to have that goofiness, because when action is called, we immediately got back into the intense scene, and we were able to get there and then, go and be ourselves. I think it was time for us to let loose on the goofiness, and then we're like, okay, now we got to get back to being serious here. So yeah,
sometimes I'd be like, go to different corners, you guys are you're laughing too much.
I told Casey when I first, or I guess it wasn't when I first met him, but like a weekend, I was like, I was a little nervous you were going to be kind of like method actory and going to be like really intense and like take Liam really intensely and be really serious with me, and he could not be more goofy. So I was very, very pleasantly surprised.
It was super cool to see you guys having so much fun on the sidelines of set, and like you would run lines together too. So you did have those serious moments, but yeah, it was just very cool watching you work together.
How hard is it to flip back into that? Because it is an intense script in a lot of parts, but when you get to let loose in between scenes, is it hard to flip that switch back on? Or
I think for me, it was a little difficult at the start, because I was still, Liam he was hard to figure out. I feel, and I told Maddie this, I feel like I didn't have the character completely the first week. But after the first week and into the second week, I got more comfortable with him. And then, once it was just like, like a cakewalk after that. We were able to, I found the voice, and, it was funny. We would be shooting a scene and I'd be talking to Maddie, and then action would be called, and Maddie was like, "Oh my God, you just turned into Liam right there." So yeah.
Yeah, Casey's voice lives up here, and like Liam's voice drops into this like low gravelly kind of thing. And so we're having like a conversation, and I'm like, "Whoa, where did Casey go? What just happened?"
Or do you remember the time that we sprung a 5-page scene on you guys?
It was 6 pages. It was 6 pages.
Okay, 6 pages.
I think it was actually 6.5. Maybe.
When you're filming and things move around last minute, you need to, move things around. And so they were having, a great easy day. And I sprung a 6-page, pretty intense scene on them, and they just like pros. You just went, to another room, rehearsed it, came back out, and it was one of my most favorite scenes of the series. So really you guys were so able to have fun and be yourselves, but also when it came time to actually do the really intense stuff or really do the work, you did it.
I would literally tell Casey to go away, and I'd have to just like sit in my little corner. And I'm like, I'm going to focus. I'm going to really focus now. This is an emotional scene. I can't be goofing around with you. But yeah, we found a good flow with it. And I think that, with anything, the more you're friends in real life, the more the chemistry comes through on screen. So I think it only helped the series.
Yeah, you guys nailed it. It's awesome.
So Georgia and Dylan, we haven't gotten to meet Jared and Meg yet, but we do in episode 3. Can you tell us a little bit about your characters for fans who have not read the series yet?
Let's start with Georgia.
Yes. Meg is just completely confident and secure in herself and doesn't bat an eye. She doesn't really need permission, I don't think, from other people. However, like, what makes Meg so unique is that she has a likability. She genuinely wants people to like her. And I think that that's something that isn't normal for people in their 20s who are young and just trying to figure it all out. She's so approachable. She wants to be friends with everyone that she meets in this life. I mean, truly. And I think that that's what I liked about her. When I first auditioned, I was like, oh yeah, like, I like this girl. Like, I know this girl. And so it was really fun getting to play her. And then similar to what Maddie and Casey were saying, it's initially like understanding the character work. And so by the time I got on set, I was like, oh yeah, like this character feels in my bones. I understand what she is going through, but also just like who she is as a person. So yeah, it was fun.
I thought you showed that even in the audition. It was great. You're like, and your character is the exact opposite of Amy, which I loved that. I thought you got that perfectly. I mean,
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jared, he comes in the 3rd episode, and Jared, he's a computer hacker by trade. It's something that he's been doing for a long time. It's how he makes his money, and he's a bit low key, keeps a low profile, a little bit off the grid, kind of has a little bit of a bad boy demeanor to him. And at the moment he's introduced in this series, I guess the audience is unaware of his true intentions and why he's suddenly in the presence of Amy. What is he doing here? Can he be trusted? Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? I don't know, is he a threat? Is he not a threat? We're all asking ourselves these questions. And that's what I loved about him, and he's a computer hacker, but he doesn't really come off as a computer hacker. And that's one of the things that really drew me to him. I looked at him as like an everyday guy. He wasn't like a Mark Zuckerberg from Social Network or like a Mr. Robot, he's not socially awkward or like trepidatious in any way like that. There's moments where he shows a lot of confidence and charm, and it just, for me, added more depth. And it was a privilege to be able to play him and explore those elements about him.
I love it. And this is a question for Maddie, Casey, Georgia, and you, Dylan. Without giving anything away, can you tell us what your favorite scene to film from season 1 was and why?
Huh.
Okay.
And go.
We filmed out of order, so you have to try to figure out like, wait, what
It is,
doing?
yeah. I haven't, because it became something we talked about so much on set. The scene, and a lot of Meg's scene are around the idea of happy hour. And so there's a happy hour scene, and there may be more fun happy hour scene. But it became a like ongoing joke. I'd like walk in the morning and Maddie would be like, happy hour? I'd be like, oh, good morning. It's good to see you too. So definitely
like,
that was one of my favorites.
She definitely likes her drinking in the afternoon for sure.
Yeah.
We
Doesn't
did
like
go to
birthday,
when we went to happy hour,
Yeah.
Georgia. We did go to happy hour. It happened.
We did.
did.
The best part about working with Maddie is because really quickly.
Oh.
No.
Georgia.
Cut off like really quickly and then she disappeared. Oh, and
That's
she's
left on a
back.
cliffhanger.
She's coming back.
That was good. We were about to get a full-on scoop there.
Oh,
Oh, we're losing you, Georgia.
There you are. Okay, there you are. Oh, now we can't.
well, the world will never know what the best part of working means.
Can you hear me?
Brilliant.
Yeah, wait, I think now we can hear you.
The timing couldn't have been more
Oh my
perfect,
God.
Georgia. It's like the best part of working with Maddie is cut out.
Nothing is nothing.
That was intentional, actually. The best part of working with Maddie is because we became friends very quickly. So we did end up going to happy hours together, actual people.
Mhm.
So
You should see our current texts to each other are literally just voice memos back and forth. Like we send probably voice memos to each other like once a day still.
Aw.
That's awesome. I love that.
planning my trip to LA.
She's
That's
coming
Yeah.
out in March. She's going to be staying with me.
I love that so
Aw.
much. It's another, I think, sort of, thing about PassionFlix and the PassionFlix family is that so many of our actors are still great friends with each other, and it's just amazing that chemistry just continues on over the years. And I just love that everyone's still in contact. So many people on time that you guys are still in contact. I mean, it's beautiful. I'm glad you guys have a good friendship.
Yeah.
I don't know that, I don't think this is giving anything away, but the reason that I'm excited about Dylan is because his role is supposed to be counter to Liam's role, to Casey's role. So you don't know if this story is really supposed to be about Amy and and Liam, or her story with Jared, which is Dylan. So that's what I'm excited about, because I really feel that a lot of people will be looking for that dynamic there, and also how the two male characters interact together, because there's that, Amy in the center of them.
Yep. I love it. Do all of you know where your character ends up by the end of the series? Has anyone? I'm just curious.
I
So
just finished the books and I was
Oh.
super, I was like, ooh, that's interesting about that person.
I am reading book 3 currently, but I actively told Lauren while we were filming, don't tell me what happens. Because I want to live it in real time. And part of the fun of Amy is that she doesn't know everything. And so I was like, don't tell me, because I don't want to know. So now that we're done with seasons 1 and 2, I'm reading 3 and 4. But at the time, I truly was trying to live in like the unknowing of it.
There's some surprises.
Same with me. I'm right now reading the third book. I just started, and I had no idea where this is going to end up.
Oh,
but it's,
You definitely need to read book 3.
Yes.
it's so
Yeah.
exciting.
Good.
You
Yeah.
definitely do. Out of everyone in this chat that needs to read book 3, that would be you.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
exactly.
excited to see where it goes.
But I remember, I think, Georgia, it was the first time that I met you, and and we were like performing, and then you were performing, and I was like, hey, just this, and I told you a little something about your character. I think it was to you, or I'm not sure if I told Stacia. It was like so long ago. It feels like 100 years ago, but it was to you, and I just told you a little something about your character that from the future, and you were like,
Yes.
I was like,
I
okay,
was
I'm not going to tell you what
What is
it
that
is,
to
but
you?
it's very
Yeah.
interesting. People watch the season.
it was like I took the similar approach of taking my time reading through them as the scenes were happening, but I was in the airport, coincidentally enough. So much of this happens in the airport, and I was reading and I literally stood up. I was like, what? And it's so fun to have that actively, like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that I do that. So it's
Yeah.
great.
You and Dylan definitely have surprises coming. So
Yes.
Yeah.
But Lisa, the way you write, Lisa, is so beautiful, because even though I knew what was going on with the scripts and the books, there were still parts of me going, but wait a minute, is he or isn't he? I mean, Lauren and I had several conversations where, of course, Lauren, had read this full series multiple times. So I would ask her specific questions. I'm like, what about this? Here's a theory. And she'd be like, oh, you're wrong. Or, oh, yeah, that's going to happen. So
But I have to
I
tell
mean-
you, when I wrote the book, so I finished book 1 and I honestly had no idea what was going to happen. That's how I write. And so I got this one review, and I never comment on reviews, but she said, oh my God, it's so obvious what happens next. I'm like, oh, damn it. Can you tell me what happens? And I literally, so I think it's ideas, because I do that. I write to where it takes me. And then I had another book to write, so I stopped. And so, I mean, I really, truly did not completely know what was going to happen. When I picked up the computer and started writing book 2.
I love it. And to jump us off the spoiler train that we're getting close to, Maddie, do you have a favorite scene from season 1 that you enjoyed filming? No spoiler wise, but just a favorite moment.
I think I have two because I had two different directors. So I think I have a favorite scene with Tosca and I have a favorite scene with Stacia. So with Tosca, I'm so torn, but I mean, the first scene of the series is so beautiful and so amazing. And Robert, our DP, did such a gorgeous job of just instantly pulling the audience in. And that was a really fun day with Tosca. But I will say my favorite scene with Tosca is when she gave me the note to look at Liam's pie symbol on his abs and to get lost in it. Because then when he asks me what I want for pizza, what kind of pizza I like, I get very startled and I'm like, I like cheese. And that is my favorite line of season 1 is I like cheese.
I like cheese.
You will see that often between me and Maddie on Instagram. You might see us occasionally and she'll be like, I like cheese.
So that is by far my favorite Tosca moment. Although she did have to demonstrate to Casey how to do the lip thing. And I kept saying, Tosca, I think you're trying to seduce me. And she was good at it.
That's what I do, guys. That's what I do.
And then Stacia, it's so hard to like talk about these scenes without spoilers, to be honest with you, but there is a really beautiful emotional scene between Liam and Amy right before Liam leaves at the end of season 1. I think I can say that. Yeah. He's not like gone. He's just leaving. And it's a goodbye scene in a lot of ways. And it was really, really beautiful. I think that Stacia brought out a lot of vulnerability and like a really amazing connection between me and Casey in that scene. And I just remember when we were shooting that, feeling very present in it. And I remember Stacia's direction in it really bringing me and Casey to like a deeper level in our acting. And that was really amazing to like live through and experience.
And it's a stunning scene. It is a really, I know exactly what you're talking about. And it's just really beautiful and very heartfelt from both of you.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's one that I'm proud of very much.
And Casey, do you have a favorite scene from season 1?
Yeah, I have a few. I have a few for a couple different reasons. Liam gets to drive a lot of cool cars. So definitely driving. I guess I won't give the name of the car away. I guess that'll be a spoiler. But yeah, no, I driving the cool car, eating some pizza. Eating the pizza was a big part of me. I love eating. But no, as an actor, what Maddie said, I know the scene that she was talking about. It was that point. What we had talked about before. We were goofing off quite a bit, but this was one of the times when we actually had to be very serious, and we had to dive into our emotions, and that's why a lot of actors are actors, so that they can portray emotions and go to emotional places, and getting to be able to do that and actually have everyone on set just kind of be quiet and just like let you do your thing. That was definitely a lot of fun to do. And between Maddie and I both having that emotional sort of reaction and connection right there was an awesome experience.
Awesome. I love that. And then Dylan, I think you were last to answer that question.
Yeah, for me it was I think it might have been episode 5 where I was doing this scene. We're in a bar with Amy. I was in a bar with Amy, and it was a really cool bar. It's an actual brewery, and it's right next to the sound stages. So there was really no like work you needed to do as an actor to kind of put yourself in that place. We had the background actors there too, and it's the first time I think Jared meets Meg, and it was just a great scene because I think the audience gains insight as to more who this character is, Jared and Amy. We have good moments together, and just kind of like breaking the ice a little bit and being more personal. And then Liam comes in, and then it was just a great ensemble moment. We had this, all of us were there together. I think that was our only scene in season 1 together, and yeah, and Amy and Casey and Maddie, they're just like a Batman and Robin. They're just like the greatest, like light energy and funny and cracking jokes the whole time. So it's really, I remember feeling really comfortable during that day, and it felt very safe. And Casey does an amazing Gollum impression. I didn't know he was such a great actor. I mean, I thought he was playing a video, and I came over and he's talking as Gollum from Lord of the Rings. Oh my God, you need to be a voice actor. You need to like do it. I think now you have to do it. I think I just put you on
Casey
the
does
spot.
voices, and then he would suddenly break out into song, like whatever song was stuck in his head, he'd start singing it. And then he'd, wait, what is that artist? And then I would have that song stuck in my head the rest of the day. It's like, thanks, Casey.
Yeah. There's just a mouse running. There's just a mouse running in my head right now.
So, and this is for Stacia and Tosca. Can you tell us what your favorite episode of the season is and why, without giving anything away?
Of season 1?
Yeah.
Gosh, there's so many beautiful moments. I mean, you guys would see me by the monitor and I would just be holding my breath, and then when you guys would be done and I'd be just so, sometimes I'd jump up and down and I'd be so excited. So there's so many of those beautiful moments, but compiling it together in one episode, I'm going to say episode 6. Okay. Because I feel like just when you feel like things are coming together for these characters, there's another twist, another turn. And it's one of those where not only for me, so many beautiful scenes and locations. And like you said, Robert Vardaros was our DP, and what an amazing talent he is. Okay. So visually, and the music, and then, and by the end of episode 106, your heartbeat starts to go again, because you're excited about, okay, where are we going with this? Where is season 2 going to take us? So I think 6.
Cool.
And I actually agree. I loved shooting the opening of the season, opening of season 1. It was really great getting to work with Manny and Liam and Casey, sorry, at the beginning. And I loved, being able to create some of the initial looks and feels and getting the adrenaline pumping at the beginning. But for me as well, I think episode 6 is so good. I mean, that's what I said. I watched episode 6 and we just locked picture on episode 6. And I'm like, I just want to start the next season. When is that? Like, when do I see the first cut? This is really good. It's great.
Soon.
Yeah, so I'm available over the weekend for the holidays. But yeah, so it's really exciting to be able to jump into the next season as soon as possible. And of course, it won't release for quite a few months, but it's exciting when you finish season 1 and you're like, oh my God, that was so great. It was basically exactly the same as reading the book. When you read the first book, you're like, oh, okay, definitely want to go on to the next one. When's the next one? I can't even imagine, Lisa, how your readers would have felt after reading the first book and you hadn't even come up with the second book, the plan yet. And you were writing another book. I'm like, I can just imagine as because I got to read all 4 of them back to back, which was amazing. And nonstop, by the way. And but if I had to wait a year or however long, how long was it between the first 2 books?
About 9 months.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Too long.
No, thank you. No, I would have just been crushed. I need to know what's going on.
Book 3 was much worse because I had moved over to Gallery, and so they had their publishing schedule for print, so it took forever. But I mean, it wasn't as big of a cliffhanger at the end of 2, but then 3 is shocking and different. Not what you would.
I read the first 3 books in 2 days. I couldn't put them down. So we need this.
They're not small books.
I blew through them so fast.
That's pretty much what happened. I was like, okay. She's like, we're getting them now. And I'm like, okay, can I read them? And same thing. I read them, I think, probably the same thing over 2 days. And I was like, okay, great. Let's do this. This is great.
Escaping Reality was actually the first audiobook I did for a romance book, because I usually would only do thrillers on that, but I did Escaping Reality, and that was before PassionFlix for me too. And
really?
Yeah,
the narrator was actually really good for that. She did.
I listened to all 4 of them on ebook. I mean, on the Audible as well. And I'd be driving, and I'm like, oh wait, like I'm white knuckling my steering wheel. Or if I'm cooking, I'm like, oh shoot, I've got something in the oven, because I would get so like wrapped up in it. So.
Yeah. I would listen to it while on the treadmill, and by the way, you get a lot of steps when you're while on the treadmill, because you're like, what's going on? Oh my God.
That is when I read. I listen on audio while I do cardio.
That's a great idea.
The narrators matter. They matter. They're not as good as, or she wasn't as good as Maddie, but she's darn good. No, because she can only do voice. Maddie got to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was nice to
Well-
hear her inner dialogue in the book as well.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, the narrator did a great job with it. She had a very innocent voice that really played along because Amy is innocent. I mean, she's been very
Mhm.
sheltered. And then suddenly here comes Liam and she's so sheltered anymore.
Mhm.
Life changes her. And that progression is what I can't wait to see on screen. And I hope that everybody will enjoy seeing, Maddie change and grow and become that independent woman. I mean, she's been on her own all this time, but she's basically been on her own hiding before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You-
And I love that she follows her gut. Like she just really listens to her inner voice. And I love that about her.
But that's really the first time in her life that she's done that. Just suddenly she decides enough and she starts, and that's when life changes for her, when she really starts standing up for herself, which going into this, that's, what I hope. I mean, we all as individuals start one place and go someplace else. And we can look back over time and say, here's where I started, here's where I went. And that's the journey that I hope that readers take, not just Amy's journey, but their own journey with Amy and how they too grow and change. So
Lisa, to kind of wrap everything up here, what has it been? What has this experience been like for you? And do you have, I know you've only seen the first 2 episodes so far as well, but do you have a favorite scene from either of those episodes?
Oh, definitely. When they got on the plane together, their chemistry was so clear. Casey and Maddie, became Amy and Liam to me. Like I couldn't, like when I rewatched it, I couldn't wait to get to the airport scenes, to the plane, really, because it's clear they have on-screen chemistry, and not every actor and actor does. I mean, believe it or not, my husband loves Hallmark movies, and so we'll be, going through the different varieties, and he'll be like, no chemistry, no chemistry, no chemistry. That matters. It does.
Yeah.
But also acting skill matters, and they're both great actors. And I appreciate that so much, because you can put 2 people that are attractive and reading the lines, but that does not make it good. So I say kudos to PassionFlix for finding great talent. I'm super excited about that. I feel honored to have all of these people representing my books, having you guys bring it to life. So thank you.
Thank you, Lisa,
so
for
much.
trusting us with your words.
Well, Lauren, I have to say a big, huge thank you to you, because you're the one who really championed all of this happening. We should all be thanking you because you made it happen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. You're so sweet.
Well, thank you all so much for being here. We will see episode 3 on January 5th. So just so everyone knows, January 5th is when episode 3 drops, and we're excited to hear what you think.
Yes,
Wait
enjoy.
to see you,
This was
Dylan. Okay. Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good seeing you guys.
Bye.
Thank you.